Imagine you're standing in the wings of a stage. You can smell the faint scent of old dust and floor wax. Just beyond that heavy velvet curtain is a room full of people. You can hear the low, rhythmic hum of their voices, a sound that, to the untrained mind, feels like a threat. Your heart is hammering. Your palms are cold. You feel a sudden, desperate urge to be anywhere else but here. If you've ever felt this, I want you to take a deep breath, because you are currently experiencing the most human emotion there is. Even the legends, the giant who moved nations with a single sentence, felt that exact same chill in their blood. Today, we are diving into a masterpiece that has been a secret weapon for world leaders for over a century, The Art of Public Speaking by Dale Carnegie. But we aren't just summarizing an old book. We are re-engineering it for the world of 2026. Because in an era of AI noise and 15-second distractions, the ability to speak with raw, human authority is the rarest currency on earth. Carnegie teaches us that public speaking isn't a gift. It's a structure, and that structure sits on 3 unbreakable pillars. Part 1, the inner architecture. Pillar 1, the enthusiasm engine. Most people think enthusiasm means high energy. Carnegie disagrees. He calls it subject consciousness. Think about it. Why are you never nervous when you're telling a friend about a movie you loved? It's because you aren't thinking about yourself. You're thinking about the subject. The moment you become more obsessed with the value of your message and the look of your performance, your fear loses its oxygen. You cannot kindle a fire in others if your own heart isn't burning. Pillar 2, reserve power. This is the glow of authority. Amateurs prepare just enough to survive their speech. The master knows 10 times more than they plan to say. This extra knowledge sits in the back of your mind like a physical weight. It gives your voice a depth and a steady resonance that the audience can feel, even if they don't know why. It's the difference between a shallow pond and a deep, silent ocean. Pillar 3, the law of preparation. Preparation isn't memorizing a script. Carnegie says a speech shouldn't be made. It must grow. Walk with your ideas. Talk to yourself in the car. By the time you stand up to speak, you shouldn't be delivering a speech. You should be sharing conviction. Now, we must address the cardinal sin of speaking, monotony. Most speakers stay in a gray zone. They speak in a flat, predictable line that acts like a lullaby, literally putting the audience's brain to sleep. Carnegie argues that your voice must have color. Efficiency in speaking comes from emphasis. If you say everything is important, then nothing is important. You must learn to light up certain words while letting others sit in the shadow. Think of it like a spotlight in a theater. You are directing the audience's attention exactly where you want it to go. We've fixed the foundation. We fought the battle inside the mind. But now, we have to talk about the instrument. If your mind is a conductor, your voice is the violin. And most people are playing a Stradivarius like it's a toy. Coming up next, we're going into the vocal mechanics. I'm going to show you Carnegie's technical rules for the music of the voice, the change of pitch, pace, and volume. If you ever wonder why some people can hold a room silent for an hour while others are ignored in 5 minutes, the answer is in the mechanics. Stay with me. We are just getting started. Part 2, the physical instrument. So, we've handled the internal battle. Your mind is ready. But now, we have to talk about the actual tool you're using to reach out and touch the world. Your voice. Have you ever noticed how some people can talk for an hour and you hang on every word, while others speak for 2 minutes and your mind starts wandering to what you're having for dinner? Carnegie says that's not luck. It's physics. He calls it the music of the voice. Most of us speak in a gray tone. We stay at one level, one speed, and one volume. It's a flat line. And on a heart monitor, a flat line means you're dead. In a speech, a flat line means your audience is bored. To fix this, you have to master 3 specific knobs. The first is pitch. Imagine your voice is a staircase. When you want to show excitement or ask a question that sparks curiosity, you move up the stairs. When you want to show authority or share a deep, grounded truth, you move down into your chest. If you stay on one step the whole time, you aren't a speaker, you're a dial tone. The second is pace. This is where the magic happens. When you're telling a story about a fast-moving event, let your words tumble out, create a sense of urgency. And this is the part most people miss, when you reach a point of profound wisdom, you must slow everything down, give the listener's brain time to catch up and digest the weight of the idea. The third is volume. And no, this doesn't mean shouting. Sometimes dropping your voice to a near whisper is 10 times more powerful than a roar. It forces the audience to lean in. It creates intimacy. It says, I'm telling you a secret. Now, I want to share something Carnegie considered the king of all techniques, the silence. Most speakers are terrified of silence. They feel like they're failing if they aren't making noise, so they fill the gaps with or like. But Carnegie tells us that silence is a command. There's a searchlight pause. That's the one you use before you say something important. It makes the audience look at you, waiting for the light to turn on. And then there's the sledgehammer pause, the one you use after a big idea. It lets the hammer blow land. It lets the truth sink in. Let me ask you, have you ever actually practiced being silent? Try it in your next conversation. Stop for just 2 seconds before you answer a question. Watch how the power in the room shifts toward you. Carnegie also touches on something a lot of people overlook, gestures. He says the biggest mistake is calculated movement. If you think, okay, at minute 5 I will raise my left hand, you will look like a broken robot. Real gesture comes from the inside out. It's an overflow of your conviction. If you feel the truth of what you're saying, your hands will move naturally. If they don't move, it's not a hand problem. It's a heart problem. You aren't feeling the subject deeply enough yet. We've covered the mind and the mechanics. You now know how to play the instrument. But how do you use that instrument to actually change someone's mind? How do you move a crowd of 500 people as if they were one person? That's what we're diving into next. We're moving from the how to the why, the art of influence and the psychology of the crowd. Trust me, what Carnegie reveals about how groups of people think is going to change the way you look at every meeting or presentation you ever walk into. Stick with me. This is where it gets deep. Part 3, the art of influence. We've built the foundation, and we've tuned the instrument. Now, we get to the part that separates the good speakers from the unforgettable ones. How do you actually move someone? How do you reach inside another human being and change their mind, or better yet, their heart? Carnegie's answer is simple, yet most people ignore it. Stop talking to the brain and start talking to the imagination. The human brain doesn't think in data. It doesn't think in bullet points or dry facts. It thinks in images. If I tell you, public speaking is a valuable career skill, that's a fact. Your brain hears it, agrees, and then immediately forgets it. But if I tell you that your voice is the golden key that can unlock every rusted door in your life, your mind instantly sees the key, hears the creak of the door, and feels the weight of the metal. Carnegie calls this imagery. He suggests that every big idea of yours should be wrapped in a picture. Use metaphors. Use comparisons. Don't just say someone was angry. Say they were vibrating with a silent, white-hot rage. When you paint pictures, your audience isn't just listening to you. They're watching a movie inside their own heads. And people never forget a movie they've seen. Now, here's a bit of psychological engineering that Carnegie mastered long before modern marketing existed. The power of suggestion. Have you ever had someone try to force an opinion on you? You immediately get defensive, right? You build a wall. Carnegie says that a push always creates a counterpush. The master orator doesn't push. They suggest. Instead of telling the audience what to think, you lead them to the edge of the truth and let them discover it. When an audience discovers an idea for themselves, they own it. It becomes their idea, not yours. And because it's theirs, they will fight to defend it. But here is the most important secret in the entire book. Carnegie calls it the heart of influence. You cannot kindle a fire in another person's soul unless that same fire is already burning in your own. You can have the perfect pitch, the perfect pace, and the perfect images. But if you don't feel the truth of your words while you're saying them, you are just making noise. There is a biological frequency to sincerity. The audience can smell a fake from a mile away. Before you speak, you have to sell the idea to yourself first. You have to be moved by your own message. If you are moved, they will be moved. It's a literal emotional contagion. Finally, Carnegie introduces something fascinating: the psychology of the crowd. Did you know that a group of 50 people doesn't think like 50 individuals? They think like one single, massive organism. A crowd is more emotional, more impulsive, and more suggestible than any single person within it. When you speak to a crowd, you aren't speaking to a collection of brains. You are speaking to a collective soul. This is why your energy has to be bigger, your stories more vivid, and your convictions more absolute. You are the conductor of a massive, shared emotional experience. We've learned how to touch the heart and stir the imagination. But a speech also needs a skeleton. It needs a plan. You can have all the feeling in the world, but if your speech doesn't have a climax, it will just wander around until everyone gets tired. Coming up next, we're going into the final architecture. Don't go anywhere. Part 4, the strategic orator. We've covered the how and the why. Now, we need to talk about the structure. You see, a great speech isn't just a collection of good points. It's a journey with a specific destination. Carnegie used to say that many speakers are like people who start walking without knowing where they're going. They just wander until they run out of breath. To be a strategic orator, you have to build your message like a piece of music or a well-designed building. Every great talk must have a crescendo. Think about a piece of classical music. It starts with a theme, it builds tension, it layers on instruments, and then at the perfect moment, it explodes into a climax. Your speech should do the same. Don't give away your biggest, most emotional point in the first 5 minutes. That's like eating the dessert before the meal. Start with a solid foundation. Build your case brick by brick. Use logic and facts to satisfy the brain, but keep building the pressure. By the time you reach your conclusion, the audience should be so ready for your final point that it feels like a physical relief when you finally say it. Now, here is something Carnegie was very firm about. Never argue. The moment you tell an audience, "I am here to prove you wrong," they stop listening and start preparing their defense. A strategic orator doesn't attack. They align. Find the things you and your audience already agree on. Use words like we and us. Once you have established that you are on the same team, you can gently lead them toward your new idea. It's like a guide leading someone through a forest. You don't pull them by the neck. You walk beside them and point out the path. Carnegie also spent a lot of time on imagination. He believed that the best speakers aren't just reciting a script, they are thinking on their feet. He has this incredible exercise. Take any common object, a pen, a chair, a glass of water, and try to speak about it for 2 minutes without stopping. Connect it to a memory. Connect it to a global problem. Connect it to a dream. This kills the fear of forgetting. When you know you can talk about anything, you aren't afraid of losing your place in a script. People don't want to listen to a recording. They want to watch a human mind in the act of creation. Finally, we come back to that concept of reserve power, but on a deeper level. Carnegie tells us that the secret to unshakable authority is the overplus. If you have to give a 10-minute talk on a subject, you should have enough knowledge to talk for 2 hours. That extra 90% that you don't say is what gives the 10% you do say its weight. It's like an iceberg. The part above the water is only supported because of the massive mountain of ice beneath the surface. When you speak from a place of overplus, your voice sounds different. Your eyes look different. You aren't straining to remember. You are overflowing with truth. We have the mind, the mechanics, the influence, and the strategy. You now have the full map of Dale Carnegie's Art of Public Speaking. But there is one final thing we need to do. We need to turn all of this theory into a reality, because knowledge without action is just a daydream. Coming up in the final stretch, I'm going to give you your tomorrow morning action plan. I'm going to show you exactly how to take this book wisdom and turn them into a permanent part of who you are. This is a finish line. Let's cross it together. Part 5, the legacy in action. We've traveled to psychology of fear, the mechanics of the voice, the art of imagery, and the hidden structures of a master orator. But Carnegie was, above all, a practical man. He knew that all the wisdom in the world is useless if it stays trapped inside this video. The art of speaking isn't something you learn. It's something you become. So, how do you take this glow into your life starting tomorrow morning? I want to give you 3 simple, tangible steps to take. Don't try to master everything at once. Just start here. First, the mirror drill. Tomorrow, find just 1 minute. Stand in front of a mirror and tell a story, any story, about something you truly love. It could be your favorite childhood memory or why you're passionate about your work. Watch your eyes. If they aren't shining, you haven't found your subject consciousness yet. Keep talking until you forget you're looking at a reflection. When you lose yourself in the message, the fear dies. Second, the social pause. In your very next conversation, whether it's with a barista, a colleague, or a family member, practice the searchlight pause. Before you deliver a piece of information or answer a question, stop for just 1 heartbeat. Watch how the other person's attention snaps to you. It's a small movement, but it's the beginning of command. It's the moment you stop reacting to the world and start leading it. Third, the vocabulary of color. Challenge yourself to replace just 1 gray word with a painted one. Instead of saying a project was hard, call it a mountain. Instead of saying a meeting was boring, call it a desert. Start coloring your world with your words, and people will start seeing the world through your eyes. Dale Carnegie's ultimate message wasn't just about speaking on a stage. It was about the evolution of the self. Your voice is the bridge between your inner world and the outer one. It is the most powerful tool you own for creating change, building relationships, and leaving a legacy. When you master your voice, you aren't just changing how you talk. You are changing how you are perceived by the universe. You are stepping out from the shadows of monotony and into the light of authority. You have the story. You have the message. And now you have the tools. Before we go, I want to hear from you. We've talked a lot today about the fear of the crowd. I want you to be honest with me in the comments. What is the one specific situation where you feel your voice starts to shake the most? Is it a job interview, a presentation at work, or just speaking up in a group of friends? Drop it in the comments below. I'll be reading through them, and let's see if we can help each other find that reserve power we talk about today. Thank you for spending this time with me. Keep speaking, keep glowing, and I'll see you in the next one.